What's going on, everybody? I did a video today and it was 55 minutes long. Could not get it to upload. Cut it back. Could not get it to upload. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to break it up into two videos and I'm just going to publish them both right away. So it's going to be a part one. It's going to be a part two. I'm tired of YouTube. I'm tired of not being able to upload videos. I don't know what the problem is. I used to be able to upload hour-long videos and there'd be no problem at all. Now, I don't know. And I don't have time to figure it out. And I'll go into all what I've been doing with my time in part one. And then I'm gonna pause. I'm just gonna pause it somewhere, stop it, end the video, so there's not gonna be any farewells, sayonaras, alohas. And then I'm gonna start part two. I'm gonna start part two with a little bit of a bonus rant. Maria and I were just talking and I was telling her some things and she brought up some funny points and I kind of want to touch upon some of those things. It's kind of some of the things that I've talked about in the videos, but she always has a nice different perspective. And adding a little bit of humor, a little bit of rants. Why not, right? I mean, it's 11 o'clock at night. I should be in bed. Here I am. I've tried and tried, and it's just, I'm frustrated with YouTube, frustrated with eBay, frustrated with Etsy, just frustrated with algorithms in general. So they will be the downfall of us all. I firmly believe that. So anyhow, this is the intro to this. I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna put the video together, get that uploading, and then do my next rant. And I'm going to just publish them in the middle of the night. There's not going to be any live. Not this time. The next time. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jeff. And also known as Hey Fro Sells. Because I sell. Hey Fro is my nickname. And I am back for another video. I apologize for the delay. I just haven't had time. I haven't been motivated to make a video. Let me give you a little update as to kind of what's going on. I've got some topics that I want to talk about. I've been writing, I kind of write things down that I want to talk about, and then sometimes I lose those sheets of paper. I've been watching videos still. Not a lot. There hasn't been like a lot that I've been that interested in watching lately. James on his video today, I still want to call him My Boring Reseller Life. I'm partial to that name because it reminds me of like a show. It reminds me of like a typical name of a show from like the 90s or something. But he was saying how like the algorithm within YouTube maybe has gone through a bit of a shift because he's not getting recommendations of people he's subscribed to, and his views are down. And I've kind of noticed that. I mean, with the few videos that I've made, I just kind of chalked it up to the fact that I haven't been making videos, so maybe that might determine whether my videos get shown or not. But so I guess the best thing is if you do want to be notified of future videos, I don't know what, click that icon, bell thingy, whatever, I don't know, because you might miss it. And but I've got my system down to where I'm, listing, I kind of start the majority of my listings on eBay and then work out from there. I mean, some things I don't even list on eBay anymore. Or something that I will do is when I get an offer to send to a watcher, and I'll look at it and I'll be like, yeah, that's probably, something that is selling for, listed for 23, but shipping is going to end up being like 12 or 13. I'm kind of starting to, that ratio of cost of the items to the shipping when it's 2 to 1, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it anymore. And I think watching Pete's video the other day, for some reason has got me thinking along these lines, because he was doing a video on promoted listings, which I highly recommend everybody watch. I thought it was a great video. I'll touch upon a couple of points later on in the video, but it's just like, by the time you figure your final value fees and then the fees on the shipping, and whether or not it's a promoted ad, you've got the promoted listings on the shipping, it starts to be not worth it. And so I just take that listing down. And whether or not that was a genuine watcher or not, I mean, maybe he really did want to buy it and he was just waiting for an offer, but I don't want to sell it on eBay anymore. And I'm finding that happening more and more. I'm finding that I'm taking down lots of listings that are selling locally or on Etsy and Posh. And I'm not like killing it on Etsy and Posh, but it's growing. It's growing, and I'm encouraged by getting the sales, and I'm also encouraged on, like, I don't know what Etsy charges, but it's really good when you compare it to eBay. Now, Etsy's doing some other BS that I don't really particularly like, which I'll get to that as well. But yeah, so I've been focusing on my process. This is just a long-winded way to say I haven't had a lot of time because I have to do all this cross-listing, crap. It's kind of cut into making content. Even just now, even today, like right now, trying to set aside time to make the video, I'm sacrificing listing. I'm sacrificing taking photos at this time of day, which I should be taking photos. And, I just have to decide, where is my time best spent, especially in this environment that we're in. It's very challenging. It's, in my opinion, it's far more challenging than it needs to be. And a lot of this is because of what the platforms are doing these days. But we'll get to that. You're going to want to stick around because I want to get your guys' input on basically Jet Fixer is, let's just say he's trying to start his own marketplace, and he's already invested some time and money into it. And he asked me to ask you guys a couple questions, so I'm going to get to that later. You can learn a little bit more. It's going to be very broad, but there's a couple questions that he wants me to ask, and I'll do that a little bit later on. But let's get into the first topic. Okay, so the other day I was going through my sales, and for some reason I was breaking it up into certain time frames. And this is just something that I've noticed about my account, and maybe these selling costs will be low for you or high. I don't know. But here's something that I've noticed, and I encourage you guys to do the same. Now, keep in mind, I do my shipping outside of eBay, so these percentages do not include shipping. But basically what I am noticing, and you can only go back so far. So I believe August 2021, so from August 2021 until December 31, I broke these up into certain categories. So basically I went this year, and then I believe I went in 2023 and 2022, and then in 2021 I only did those 4 months because that was as far as you could go back. But I've noticed my selling costs from 2021, from August until December, my selling costs were 15.29%. All of 22, 15.5. All of 23 went up to 16.6. And when I do this, when I compare January 1st of this year to now, and I compare that, so this year my selling costs are 17.3%, and when I do just the last quarter, you can select like last year, last quarter, 18%. So you might not think that selling costs going from 15.29 to 18% in 3 years is a lot, but I think it's a lot. I think it's a lot because it was probably around 15.29%. It was probably that was, I mean, if I could go back further, if I could have done all of 2021 or 2020 and 2019, it would have been interesting to see what those are. But I mean, I think they were, if I had to say, they were probably not going up that much for those years. So on top of inflation, on top of shipping costs going up, you've got your selling costs, which are going up like almost a 1% every single year. And, you know, like, so in 2023, it was actually 16.6%. And just this last quarter, it's gone up. It's now 18%. Now, that might flatten out when I get to do this full year from January until December. Maybe it might be under 18%, or maybe it might be more. But I feel like, you know, Jack and I, we talk all the time, and it just feels like eBay, they're like gearing down, or gearing up, maybe is the better way to say it. It's like they keep implementing these changes and like strangling us more, like strangling us metaphorically, and strangling our sales, and in an effort to, one can only surmise that they cut our sales off so we promote and we give them more money. And I have not been a fan of promoted listings from day one. From day one, meaning day one of April 1 of when 2022? Is that when it was? Has it? It's, yeah, because it's been almost 18 months of just pure reselling hell on eBay ever since they made that change. It's hard to believe that it's been that long that we've been kind of dealing with this, and like we think. I'm trying to keep my eye because someone might be coming to buy something local. It's hard to believe it's been this long since we've been dealing with all this crap. But once it got to the point when I saw what eBay was doing with the promoted listings, basically cutting off our sales, trying to get us to promote whatever changes that they made. I've been very vocal about promoted listings. And, you know, lots of people have been vocal, and then, you know, it seems like we've kind of gotten to the point where we've acceptance of this, but it doesn't sit well with me. It never has, it never will. I know there are a few, well, I can think of one exception, and you probably know who you are, that has amazing sales and he doesn't promote. All I know is that when my campaigns expire, my sales die. They just completely die. And I know Jack was just doing an experiment because he's writing a book about eBay, and for his book he needed to gather some information about what happened when, you know, he goes off promoted listings. And I mean, I've seen other people do similar experiences, and when eBay comes out and says to you, you don't need to promote to make sales on eBay, while that's technically true, you do need to promote to get enough sales to kind of survive as a reseller if you do this full time. And I just don't agree. I don't agree. And how I'm, you know, it's causing me to cross list, do local sales, do anything that I can do to cut down my selling costs so they're not just going up every single year like I've shown. And I encourage you guys to do that same, you know, kind of see what you're selling, see how they've gone up. You know, do it from August until, you know, whatever in 2021, do full year 22, 23. If you want, Put them in the comment section. I would love to see how your selling costs have been affected. Maybe it might be eye-opening. But Pete did a video on some of the issues that he has with promoted listings, and I really enjoyed that video because he's just way more analytical than me, and he goes far deeper in his analysis and all right, sorry about that. That was my sister-in-law calling. I was talking about Pete. I mean, he offers information that so many good reasons why promoted listings is bad. And it's bad. And it's, I mean, not even considering the transparency, the way that eBay pits sellers against sellers and the whole percentage and this and that. And I don't know, like, honestly, there's been times where no promoted views, it comes out promoted, and I know people will say the halo effect, but it just seems like it's impossible that as many promoted sales are promoted than they are. When you look at the views, when you show the breakdown, and I don't believe any of that information is in the back office. I don't believe anything that is in the back office. It's all skewed, and it's all skewed to make, like Pete does a great job explaining ROAS and how it's just it's wrong. It's so wrong, the information that's in the back office. But the thing is that when I see somebody talk about promoted listings and they make a statement that, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. Kevin, I love you. But I do have issues, just like Pete had issues, with when you say, would you give eBay X amount to get X amount back? I'm not even an in-depth thinker to break it down the way Pete did. For me, it is just like, what has eBay done? What has eBay done to earn that money? B, those items would probably have sold anyhow. So again, let's circle back to A. What has eBay done to deserve that money? They're literally, on top of all the other rising costs, they're literally, in my opinion, they're choosing the most absolute wrong time to try to nickel and dime, or actually, I shouldn't even say nickel and dime, dollar bill and $10 bill your accounts with these promoted listing fees. Not only, if you think about it, not only do they not deserve it, they're actually doing less now as a partner of us. And they may not want to look at sellers as being partners with them, but the sad truth is, the reality is we are partners with eBay. Even though they don't want to see us as that, they just want to cannibalize our profit margins and siphon money out of our accounts. But they're doing less now than they did 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? Like, what does PL get you? It gets you placement. Maria, she said something the other day, and I thought it was brilliant. Oh, let me just finish one thought. Because eBay's not advertising, that was my other thing. They're doing less. They're not advertising, and they're trying to make us pay for the advertising, and they're trying to make us pay for placement. So they don't even deserve that money, in my opinion. And because of that, it is forcing sellers to sell their inventory in other places. But getting back to Maria's thought, and I hope I don't butcher this. I had a couple things written down. It's not on there. Dang it. But she said something to the effect of promoted listings actually doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Because they're not actually promoting your items. They're not actually going out into, like, let's say you're selling comics. They're not actually going out into like comic communities and promoting your items in front of people who are actually going to buy said items that they're promoting. It's just placement. In fact, what Maria was saying, and this is the part that I thought was brilliant, is that if you don't promote, you are not seen, right? You're not seen. So basically, eBay has set up a structure to where if you promote, then it's almost like if you promote, you're almost getting what you got on the website 6 years ago. That's, not free, because you're still paying final value fees. But if you want to look at it like eBay of 6 years ago is normal, meaning like people just typed in what they were looking for and they could find it, and your items weren't hidden. You weren't what's that word? How's that phrase? People talk about it all the time. I can't think of it now. But it's almost like promoted listings doesn't exist. When you list something that is not promoted, it's just automatically not really seen, or it's not. It has very, very limited visibility, and then the only way you can get any kind of visibility is to promote. But the problem is, and this is what James talked about today, this is what I've talked about for the last year, 15 months, is that the moment that everybody is promoting, there's no advantage. There's zero advantage. Like I was just talking to Jet today. I was like, what would be amazing is if, and it's impossible because, we don't have access. But if we could just convince every single seller to just stop promoting, right? And that would just be, but it would never happen. But the thing is we're going to get there. We're going to get there eventually, I think. Meaning, when I say get there, meaning that everyone will eventually be promoting. Maybe they'll force you into it at a minimum rate. Maybe they'll just force you into it. Or maybe visibility will just be so bad that, again, let's just say everyone is promoting at 5%. And then now there's no advantage. And now eBay is just making another 5% for doing nothing, absolutely nothing, until and then finally somebody is going to go up to 6%, and then it's just going to be this, race to the top of the search feature, race to the bottom of your profit margins. And so there's going to come a point where eBay can't tout all this future growth from their advertising fees, which is just placement. So yeah, I don't know if I did a really good job of explaining that, but it's promoted listings doesn't exist the way that they advertise it as. It's just internal placement, and they have just found a way to manipulate the algorithm and hide or show. And where do these numbers come from too? Like the numbers in the back office. Oh, you get 30%, what do they say? 30% more sales or 30% more this or that. It's just that they're very tricky with their wording, but I would like to see facts, right? I don't know how they can make these claims without backing them up. And there's times where items sell, they're organic, and then hours later they show up as promoted, and it's just like, that should never happen. No amount of reconciliation should cause that to happen. They should know from as soon as that sale is done, processed, and it show as a sold in our back office, we should know from minute, second, whether it's promoted or whether it's organic. Okay, I want to show you something. Another example of what I mean when I say I don't believe any of the statistics. So you see this button there, and it was this button. So this sold the other day, not for a lot, and it's not important. What is important that this data is telling me that this particular button had 9 views, 7 of which were organic, 2 of which were promoted. When you look, I have sorted my entire store by views, and so this is another example. I mean, this is another glitch. For some reason, see, this shouldn't even be showing up because these are my active listings. It's showing 0 quantity. Where is that? 0 quantity. This is a glitch. I can't get this thing to turn off showing. I mean, basically anytime something sells, it's still showing active on my store. I've toggled the thing off. I've called 2 times. It just automatically toggles back on. It won't. I don't know. But my point here is, it's 9 views. 9 views is the most any of my listings has, and about half of my store I haven't reset for at least 6 days. And you're telling me that this button was my most watched item out of 4,034 items? This generic button, there's no way that this had 9 views, 9 real views. No way. There's no way it had 9 views, and there's no way that is the most watched item that I have. I don't know what advantage they have by making it seem like our items are more viewed. It seems like once they sell, the views go up. I don't know why that is the case. It has to serve them in some capacity, but I don't know why. And for reasons like that, I don't believe, and not just that, like, there's so many reasons for us to not really feel comfortable. You know, eBay, again, what was it, 15 months ago? It was not this summer, but last summer, they said they wanted to like build and repair relationships with sellers. What have they done? Nothing. Not only have they not repaired relationships with sellers in that time, they're actually continuing to do more and more things that are damaging to sellers. The latest thing that I kind of have beef with is the whole measuring of our responses, our messages that we have. Now, don't get me wrong, I am very quick to respond, so from that standpoint, it's not going to really affect me. But I don't. Have you ever what happens when we get messages that really don't require a response, right? Have you ever had just, stupid questions, or, people just sending you a message saying, oh, I really like this, I don't have any intention on buying? Like, these are messages that we should just delete, but now we have to at least just respond to them. I do not like to be micromanaged in my business. And to say that we have to, so if we don't respond to a couple messages, I would think that that's going to skew your entire time frame that you respond in. So now we have to respond to responses that don't really require a response. This is the one thing. Etsy is doing this thing now where we just got notified today how they want. Basically, they're saying that if you have shipping and handling that's over $6, you're going to have lower visibility in search, right? Even if it costs $15 to ship it, right? So the logical thing would be to just go edit your listings, kick all your shipping down to $6, raise all your prices. It's the same. It's the same. It's stupid. It's why are these platforms, do they not take any input from sellers? Are they so scared of losing buyers or losing sales that they just willy-nilly do things, implement these changes at the cost of alienating its seller base, their partners, alienating their partners? Like I was literally, I had 2 really nice sales on Etsy over the weekend. There's a lot to like about Etsy, but I think this is just a really dumb move by them. It's just, honestly, shipping continually goes up a couple times a year. And I mean, mailing things for $6, especially heavy things, you know, oftentimes I'm already subsidizing shipping and handling when I sell things. Especially when you factor in the fees that come out of there. Bad move on eBay's part about this whole measuring thing. Bad move on Etsy's part. Again, I'm really starting to just I'm really starting to be over a lot of these platforms. I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll just be all local. I don't know. I don't think so, but I just don't like to be micromanaged. What do you guys think? Do you think either of these are a big deal? Like Pete says, he did a video about this today, and he was saying how, you know, it doesn't affect your metrics or this and that, but you know, eBay, they're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way to make it affect you, and then they're gonna find a way to monetize it. You know, maybe your selling fees go up if you don't respond within a certain amount of time. I mean, I'm already thinking about, like, if I get a dumb question from somebody and I already know this is not somebody that I want to respond to, do I just respond with a period and then block them? Like, I've responded, right? Like, I'm already thinking, like, I'm a least amount of effort kind of guy. I'm a minimalist when it comes to things. I'm a hard worker, but I don't want to work hard if I don't have to. But I do what I do to not have a boss to tell me what to do. And it just feels like more and more these platforms are basically micromanaging our business, and it shouldn't be that way. Now, there's some interesting news, and if you want to read between the lines a little bit, Walmart is now starting to do, it was just announced they're trying to get into this, secondhand and, reselling. They're going to basically be allowing sellers to sell their stuff on Walmart's platform. Now, I also saw an article. Do I still have it?